Hello.
Good evening.
Happy Tuesday.
Indeed.
We're getting into our regular
I know. 2 Tuesdays in a row.
pattern. Yeah, I'm psyched. Next week will be on your channel.
Uh-huh.
The week.
Very good.
Yeah. So today we were talking about South Korean feminism, radical
Mm-hmm.
feminism, 4B.
Very excited to learn.
Yeah, I have not actually read this article yet. Usually I at least skim the article, but I saw this. I saved it from back in January in case we would ever have occasion to do a stream or something on it. And here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah. I have known about 4B for a couple
Mm-hmm.
of years.
Yep.
I've watched some videos and stuff about it, but a lot of it's in Korean.
Korean, yes.
Yeah.
I don't speak
So it's
Korean.
like I don't either. Pretty difficult language too. So,
Yeah.
um yeah, so I don't know, hopefully we'll get some of the details. The author of this article is I believe she's a feminist. She wrote a book about Me Too. So hopefully we're going to get to
Okay.
see it from that perspective. You never know with the New York Times kind of what
That's
perspective you're going to
right.
get on these kinds of things, but hopefully they'll be a little bit generous towards it. Um, Expired Milk, hello, says 4B, also known as common sense and the bare minimum, in my opinion. Yeah, someone brought this up like a few weeks ago where they were like, I don't think it was you, but I don't remember who said this, but someone said something like, can you imagine the women in Korea being
That was me.
like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, was it?
It
Being
was on
like,
Discord, but I can't remember exactly
oh,
what it was that.
can, yeah, like, can I still wear makeup and be a feminist? Can I still, you know, get married and be a feminist? Like the questions that come up here. And
I
I think
know.
we're pretty generous about all of that stuff too. It's I consider myself hardline for myself, and encourage women to go in that direction, but there's no hard and fast lines if you're interested in learning about this stuff. It's open to everybody,
Yeah. Oh, I wish
you
I could
know.
find that. It was a
Yeah.
tweet that I sent you.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So I heard it from you, but it was a tweet. Yeah. Um, right. So yeah, we kind of get that a lot. Like, oh, can I do XYZ thing and still call myself
Yes.
radical or whatever? It's like, well, I think we're gonna learn some lessons from these women tonight. But just want to say hi to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Irene,
Hello.
Ice Goddess, Blorbo, Endeavor, Lily, Hazel. Um, Hazel, in one of my recent streams, she said some really good comments, and I overlooked them, and I went back, and I often go back and read the chat because the chat's going by so fast. I can't really do
Yeah, can't
both,
keep up. Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to say that Hazel, you left some really good chats recently.
Yeah.
Hello, Lepto, Marie, Endeavor. Did I say Infinite Kindness, Julie? Hi, everybody.
Hazel said, I've got my number 2 pencil.
Yeah, take notes, learn something. Hopefully, these are, I'm always very inspired by women who are like unapologetically hardcore and not afraid to go in that
I
direction
know.
because they are really good role models. We need more of that, and we already have so many role models of women who are kind of soft, right? Like
Uh-huh.
we have so many examples of that. That's the mainstream. And we don't really have a lot of role models here. So,
Hardcore.
hi, Salad Caesar. So,
Hello, hello,
yeah,
hello.
Radical will be reading for us tonight, as usual. Her
Mm-hmm.
beautiful voice. Hello, Mary Jane.
Ugh.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Hi, Mary
Um,
Jane.
Irene says this is exactly it. Can I be radical? If I do everything to the status quo, please help. Can my husband be
Husband be
radical?
radical. Woo.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can date men,
Shall
have
we?
sons, wear makeup, just won't be radical. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. But we do need more hardcore feminists. And hello, DK. Yeah, please.
All right.
Let's
So,
do it.
from the New York Times, women in South Korea are on strike against being baby making machines.
Mm.
Hmm.
Love this empty playground.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Hi, Willow.
Okay, women of reproductive age in South Korea are having fewer babies than any other country in the world.
Yeah, nice. Love to see it. No, I mean, I was actually reading about Japan and
Yes,
how,
their
you
birth
know,
rate is
yeah,
in the tank.
they have a population quote unquote crisis, like they have
Mm-hmm.
so many old people who are on the verge of dying just by dint of being old and
Yeah.
no one to replace them, and they have, you know, they actually have so many abandoned houses there, that you can get a house for around 20 to 25,000 US. You can get a full house, because they're in the kind of suburbs or country area, which is
Yeah.
like where I'd rather live anyways. And then the cities are still super crowded and expensive, but it's really fascinating. People are like, "Oh, they have a huge population crisis." It's like, no, they're an example for every country in the world. Like that's what we need right now. We're like in a major
Yes.
environmental, yeah. But yeah, I was just reading about that today. That was super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho,
Mm-hmm. Okay. After trying for over a year to persuade more South Korean women to have babies, Chung Hyung-bak says one reason stands out for her failure: our patriarchal culture. Miss Chung, who was tasked by the previous government with reversing the country's plummeting birth rate, knows firsthand how tough it is to be a woman in South Korea. She chose her career over nuptials and children. Like her, millions of young women have been collectively spurning motherhood in a so called birth strike. A 2020 survey found that more women than men, 65% versus 48%, don't want children. They're doubling down by avoiding matrimony and its conventional pressures altogether. The other term in South Korea for birth strike is marriage strike. The trend
I
is.
just want to go. Oh,
Yep.
sorry. I just want to go back
No,
to
no.
that first paragraph. That's interesting. This woman who chose a career over getting married and having kids is now tasked with convincing other women to not do what she did. That's kind of weird,
Interesting
right?
indeed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Leptoceratops says 65% legendary.
I know.
That's
Wow.
awesome. In the I've talked about that. In the US, it's like very low who actually don't want kids.
Yeah.
It's like in the single digits.
Yeah, it's such a
There are a lot of,
stark difference.
yeah. In the US, about I think 19 or 20% of women don't ever have children. But even of those, most of them wanted to have kids and it just didn't work out for one reason or
What the
another.
heck? Why?
Yeah. So it's actually very rare to like not want kids, not just not
Wild.
having them. But like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. 65% don't want children. Good.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for
I love
them.
that.
Wow. The trend is killing South Korea. For three
Okay.
years in a For 3 years in a row, the country has recorded the lowest fertility rate in the world, with women of reproductive age having fewer than one child on average. It reached the dead cross when deaths outnumbered births in 2020, nearly a decade earlier than expected.
Well, I wonder if that's also partially because of COVID, right?
Yeah, fair.
Like,
So
yeah.
there's Chung Hyung-bak, who was South Korea's gender equality minister 2017-18, tried unsuccessfully to raise the country's plunging fertility rate. Among the obstacles she says are to blame is the country's patriarchal culture.
Mm-hmm. I want, oh, this is a great comment. You recycle? Oh, well, I'm child free. Get wrecked. Yeah, pretty much if you don't have kids, like your impact on the environment, because it's exponential too. It's like, oh,
Oh
someone who
yeah.
has 2 or 3 kids, then they're all gonna have 2 or 3 kids. Like my
Mm-hmm.
carbon footprint ends with me. It kind of doesn't really matter how much I consume, although I do consume very little, but like you could
Yeah.
literally be on a flight every day or whatever and still, you know,
Mm-hmm.
not feel guilty about that. Expired Milk says reproduction is a choice until too many women opt out for their own good. Then it gets framed as a national crisis. That should clue women into the larger game here. And I think that's a really, really great
Oof.
comment.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see where this goes and what her perspective on it is, because she started that last paragraph off by saying that it's killing South Korea. So I'm not sure that we're gonna get a feminist friendly take on this, but we're gonna
We'll
get a
see.
take and we're gonna learn some things one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, and hi, existential gamer. I hope your headache is better.
Yeah. Oh
We were
yeah.
talking about headaches earlier.
We were. Now, about half of the country's 228 cities, counties, and districts risk losing so many residents they might vanish. Daycare centers and kindergartens are being converted into nursing homes. OBGYN clinics are closing and funeral parlors are opening. At Seoksan Elementary School in rural Gunwi County, the student body has shrunk from 700 pupils to 4.
Wow.
When I last visited, the children couldn't even form a soccer team. Holy crap.
Yeah, so that's very similar to what's happening in Japan that we talked about. Is like
Uh-huh.
whole schools are just totally gone. Um so yeah. I wanted to see, let's see. Nora Amir says when women had the freedom to not rely on men and birth control was available, fertility rates dropped down. How horrifying it is that women were and still are forced to have children against their will.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, well, historically, getting married and having children was the way that women survived because they
Right.
didn't have a way to earn money on their own. So, bless you. Once
Thanks.
um once you give them those options, then they in large numbers choose to not do that. So if the society modernizes to the point where women can work and support themselves, it's it should surprise no one that they choose that versus getting, and also the fact that they choose that over getting married and having children really
Right.
says a lot about how good getting married and having children is for women's
Right.
well-being. Like, as soon as they have the option to not do it, a lot of
They're
women
like,
choose not
bye.
to. Yeah, so if it was
Peace
such a
out.
great thing, wouldn't you just be choosing that anyways?
Right.
Right. Um, Leptoceratops says women are saving the world through reduced birth rates by choice. I've never seen women credited for that. Instead, we get blamed for the fertility crisis right after being blamed for overpopulation.
Oh, there's no
Yes.
winning.
Rule number one of misogyny, women are always to blame. I don't know which rule
Yep.
that is, but it's up there. Yeah.
Young Koreans have well documented reasons not to start a family, including the staggering costs of raising children, unaffordable homes, lousy job prospects, and soul crushing work hours. But women in particular are fed up with this traditionalist society's impossible expectations of mothers, so they're quitting. President Yoon Suk Yeol, elected last year, has suggested feminism is to blame for blocking healthy relationships between men and women. Heard that before.
Mm.
But he's got it backwards. Gender equality is the solution to falling birth rates. Many of the Korean women shunning dating, marriage, and childbirth are sick of pervasive sexism and furious about a culture of violent chauvinism. Their refusal to be baby making machines, according to protest banners I've seen, is retaliation. The birth strike is women's revenge on a society that puts impossible burdens on us and doesn't respect us, says Jinny Kim, 30, a Seoul office worker who's intent on remaining childless. Making
Yeah,
life.
that's oh, there must be a delay between us. But anyways,
Oh
no, I was
no.
gonna say the first sentence up there, that last paragraph, because you kind of laughed at that, suggesting
This?
feminism's to blame for blocking healthy relationships. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's not the problem, right? Feminism
Mhm.
wouldn't need to exist in the first place if it was like everything was hunky dory,
Right.
you know?
It's a reaction to something, not, you
Something
know,
is not right, and feminism is pointing it out. It's not the
correct.
pointing it out that's the problem, right?
Right.
Hello, Zay
Completely.
Zay. Just want to
Hope you
say
feel better.
I'm also feeling shitty today, so that
Yeah.
makes two of us, but we're here. We're here enjoying
Mhm.
each other's company.
Making life fairer and safer for women would work wonders towards reducing the country's existential threat. Yet, this feminist dream seems increasingly far fetched as Mr. Yoon's conservative government champions regressive policies that only magnify the problem.
Mm,
South Korea's demographic crisis was once inconceivable. As late as the 1960s, women had 6 children on average. But the
mm.
state, pursuing economic development, carried out an aggressive population control campaign. In about 20 years, women were having fewer than the 2.1 children needed for replenishment, a number that's only continued to drop. The latest available data from South Korea's statistics agency put the fertility rate at 0.81 for 2021. By the third quarter of 2022, it was 0.79.
Wow. So that means like the population is going to shrink by more than half, like if that
Hmm.
continues.
Yeah,
Wild.
that's a lot.
Again, we love it. We love to see it.
Hmm. What do we got here? A nursing home in Gwangju Metropolitan City, South Korea, that used to be a daycare center.
Mm,
Recent governments have indeed been alarmed by a rate that's seemingly approaching zero. Over 16 years, 280 trillion won, or $210 billion, has been poured into programs encouraging procreation, such as a monthly allowance for parents of newborns. Many women still say, nope, no wonder. There's little escaping suffocating gender norms, whether in pregnancy guidelines to arrange clean undergarments for your husband before labor.
Ow!
Uh,
Ah.
because what, they're incapable of cleaning their own underpants? Like, so do it before you go into labor, ladies.
Oh my God.
Okay. Or the day's long kitchen drudge work for holidays like the Chuseok Harvest Festival. Married women are saddled with the lion's share of chores and childcare, squeezing new mothers so much that many give up professional ambitions. Even in dual income households, wives daily spend more than 3 hours on these tasks versus their husband's 54 minutes.
Right. That's kind of common the world over, but
The
that
world
that
over.
is a pretty significant, like they say, even in dual income households. So both, people in the couple are both
Working.
parents. If they're both working and yet she's coming home and doing 2 hours, well, what does he do for 2 hours? She's doing housework and he's just watching TV or something or what?
Yeah,
That's
who
not fair.
knows? No.
Mm.
Discrimination against working mothers by employers is also absurdly common. In one notorious case, the country's top baby formula maker was accused of pressuring female employees to quit after getting pregnant.
Oh, the irony.
Incredibly so.
A baby formula maker. Like,
Do you see yourselves?
yeah, it's
Gender-based
wild.
violence is Gender-based violence is shockingly widespread, according to Human Rights Watch. Oh, that was a weird sentence. Sorry. According to Human Rights Watch. In 2021, a woman was murdered or targeted for murder every 1.4 days or less, according to the Korea Women's Hotline. Women have dubbed the act of ending a relationship without getting a vicious reaction a safe breakup. Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yes. That's, yeah, like, oh, I didn't have a violent reaction, so it was safe this time.
Right.
But women haven't passively accepted the toxic masculinity. They've organized raucously, from Asia's most successful Me Too movement to groups like 4B, which translates to the four no's: no dating, no sex, no marriage, and no child rearing. The country's feminist movements have won the decriminalization of abortion and harsher penalties for an epidemic of spy cam porn crimes.
Mm, that is a big
Yeah,
issue
it's
there.
rampant there. So gross.
Mm, yeah, really pervy.
Mm,
Um,
horrible.
Expired Milk says, I've never even dated a guy before, but every rejection I've handed out has been met with some level of retaliation.
Same. I have also never dated a man, but I have been approached or asked out or whatever, every woman has. And yeah, I can relate to this completely. And it's worse when they find out you're a lesbian.
Wow, that's super interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's not even like, oh, sorry, like you're a lesbian. It's like you become a project or a challenge then.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They try to convince you that they're gonna
Yeah,
turn you.
yeah. One
Ah,
one night with them.
gross.
So
Julie,
gross.
yeah, Julie says give up dating for lion taming and reduce your
Reduce
risk.
your risk. Oh,
The thing
yeah.
it's like it does it introduces this huge risk into your life, but what do you get out of it?
I don't
That
know.
yeah, silent crickets, right? Like, you know, what do you get out of it? It like just what's the best case scenario? You're gonna be doing 3 hours of housework while they sit around and play video games and like they do all this kinds of shit to erode your trust and
Yeah.
like I don't know, because I've done it.
Right.
It was doing it that made me that that's like what changed my opinion on men was like actually getting out there and experiencing it.
Yeah, right. The lived
So
experience. Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah. But I mean that no dating, no sex, no marriage, no child rearing, like those are things where every single one of those things, the woman has to put up this huge risk. She has to take
Uh-huh.
on a huge risk. And what benefit does she get out of it? Versus, I'm not saying that there's 100% no benefit, because obviously there's some small benefit, but like the thing that's crazy, the benefit to men for all four of those things is like
Exponential.
insanely high. And it's the woman who does all the work and takes on
Yeah.
all the risk and takes
Uh-huh.
on all the negative sides of
Mhm.
it. And yet, it's like the perceived thing is that women are like chasing men and trapping men and stuff.
Ugh.
When it's like really like men are the ones who benefit from
Won't
this stuff.
someone think of the men?
Yeah, it's insane. Um Oh, Endeavor says, "Had a guy say, ah, don't say that about yourself when I told him I was gay because he thought I meant it as an insult."
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Okay, I
um,
saw a tweet today. Did you send? Oh,
yeah.
you sent it to me. The
Oh,
thing about the
yes.
soap.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
just
yeah,
it's just kind of
yeah.
fitting to this conversation. Lisa sent me a tweet today. I'm just gonna read it to you guys. It's insane.
Well,
Said I
I've
spend way
been
too
deep. Yeah, go ahead.
says
Go
I
ahead.
spend way too much time thinking about the woman on here who tweeted about moving out of her apartment after 3 years and her husband remarking, "Can you believe the soap dispenser in the sink never ran out of soap?"
Yeah, and that whole thread was just full of women being like, "My husband is one of those guys. He thinks that like the toilet paper magically like,
Right. One of the women
reappears."
said that she and her husband have lived in their home for 2 years and he doesn't know where the vacuum lives.
And this stuff's so common, and I would bet that a lot of women in relationships like that would say, "He's such a great
Of
guy.
course, all of
Our
these women in
relationship's so equal. He helps out so much." And meanwhile,
like
there's a lot of probably
all of
yeah.
these tweets, the tone was just like, so funny. It's like, no, that's not funny.
I know, and it's like there's a lot of cognitive dissonance there, right? Because these women are in these situations that are like objectively that's pretty horrible, you know? And they make it
Yeah.
like a little joke about, "Oh, he's so funny, he's so childlike," or something, you know? Or I take care of him and he's pampered and whatever. Um, Ice Goddess says, "Whoops, he doesn't beat me."
Wow, the bar is
Um,
in hell.
yeah, I actually saw a really good post on FDS. I'm working on a video about this topic of women's unequal work in relationships. Um, and I saw a great post on FDS. I agree FDS has its flaws, but sometimes they really hit the nail on the head with this stuff, you
Mm.
know. They call out men. I mean, you know, low value men, that's a real thing. Not sure high value men is a real thing, but they do, you know, call out men for being low value. So I give them credit
Fair.
for that at least.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, chat's flying, but
I
yeah,
know.
please continue on.
Okay.
You're doing a great job reading.
Many young Korean men, however, have declared themselves victims of women's activism. President Yoon rose to power last year by leveraging this resentment. He echoed the dog whistle of men's rights advocates, declaring that structural sexism no longer exists in South Korea and vowing tougher punishment for false reports of sexual assault.
Yeah, this men declaring themselves victims of women's activism, it's like they're still in a position of relative privilege. It's just maybe 2% less privilege than they had or
Right,
something like
but
that. And they
but
see
to them
that
that's
as
catastrophic.
exactly like that's a very common thing, you know, that we say like if you're in a position of privilege, then equality feels like oppression,
Yeah. Oh
you
my god.
know?
And
So,
tougher punishment for false reports of sexual assault. What's the stat? Like point something percent of reports are false.
right.
Like a fraction of a percent. Like get real.
Yeah, that is so rare.
So rare.
So, yeah,
Mr. Yoon's government is removing the term gender equality from school textbooks and has canceled
nice.
funding for programs to fight everyday sexism. If you find gender equality and feminism so important, you can do it with your own money and time, said one lawmaker in his party.
Oh my god, that's so freaking backwards.
God, the Korean
Insane.
women, my God. The government is also working to dismantle its own headquarters for women's empowerment. the Gender Equality Ministry. Established in 2001, it's been transformative in normalizing parental leave for fathers and helping more women achieve workplace seniority.
Can I
Comments by the
just
Gender Equality. Yeah,
oh, sorry. Yeah, there's definitely a delay. I'm not trying to interrupt you when you're reading.
no worries.
So I'm sorry about that. Every time I'm talking, I feel like I'm interrupting you, but
Uh,
it's okay because I think I think you I must be like 3 seconds ahead of you or something. Anyways, I just want to point this out. I'm proud of the South Korean women standing up for themselves, but it is much safer to do it quietly. Just do it quietly. Don't date, don't have hookup sex, don't marry, don't have children. I do it too. What do you think of that? Like doing it quietly?
like not making a movement out of it, do you mean? Or.
Yeah, like that it's safer to do it quietly. I mean, I think that just doing it is the important part, whether
Oh,
you
definitely.
have,
Yeah, yeah.
but then I do think it's important to bring awareness to the fact that this is an option because a lot of women don't even realize that they're so all they see is the
Brainwashed.
mainstream stuff. They see their mom and their sisters and everybody around them going with the flow and they may just think they need to do
Yeah,
that
there's no
too. That's
other.
just part of life. Yeah. And I don't mean to sort of I don't know, not infantilize or something women that they can't that they're not smart enough to come up with this on their own. But there's a lot of social pressure, you know, and I think that some women don't really think it through, like think it through with all their options or whatever. So
Yeah.
I think it is important to bring awareness to the fact that these are actually possibilities and also to go against the popular notion that women who don't do these things, like who don't have sex, don't get married, don't have children,
Uh huh.
don't date, that they're miserable because that's like factually not the case.
Correct.
But if you just look at like popular media and stuff, um, you'd think that it is like, oh, she's a crazy old cat lady who's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Gonna die alone with her cats.
right. And that's actually not the case at all. So I think we
Mm-hmm.
need representations of women showing that that's not the case because there's overwhelmingly so much media and conversations that say the opposite. Um, So, like Expired Milk says, I'm big on leading by example, even within my own friend groups, just to showcase that you don't have to engage in relationships. You won't die. You
Mm-hmm.
can even, yes, be quite healthy and fulfilled, which is really true. Yeah. And Peanut says, I agree, bring awareness to the possibilities of the lifestyle, but I wonder if it'd be safer for women to do it with anonymous blogs. I don't know. Just worry about her safety. I agree. I think it's important for women to do
Mm-hmm.
whatever's going to keep them the safest. If it's going to potentially make them a target of violence or something, then that might
Yeah.
be the where it, you know, we draw the line or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm. Okay.
Comments by the Gender Equality Minister under the Yoon administration illustrate its abandonment of women. In September, Kim Hyung-suk rejected the idea that misogyny was at play when a Seoul metro worker stabbed a female colleague to death in a subway bathroom after stalking her for years. Ms. Kim also initially declared that the rape and killing of a college student on campus last June was not violence against women and shouldn't be used to fan gender conflict.
I mean, it's literally violence against
Uh,
women.
right. There was a violent
How
act
do you,
against a woman.
yeah, how do you do the mental gymnastics to make that not violence against women?
That's so
Um,
sad. And it's a woman who
yeah, it
said
really
that.
is.
A
Yeah,
woman said that.
wild, wild.
We've got a nursing home and rehabilitation clinic in Paju, South Korea that used to be a wedding hall.
I love it. Repurpose
I
it.
know.
And also, this contraction of population, like any capitalist society relies on continual growth. It's like a Ponzi scheme, right?
Of
Like
course.
if you don't have more, like in the US, our social security system is a Ponzi scheme. It's going to run out if we don't have
Yeah.
enough children. That's why they incentivize having children here too. They give you all
Yeah.
sorts of
Same
tax
here.
breaks, obviously free education and stuff. They don't do as much as they could, obviously, but they incentivize it in ways. Getting married, you get a tax break for that.
Yep.
But the thing is with this contracting population it will be painful for their country in the short term.
Hmm.
But it's only short term. And
Uh huh.
it doesn't last forever. So
Correct.
anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. And also, it does have the benefit of real estate becomes a lot cheaper, you
Yeah,
know,
that's a benefit.
right? So places like where it's very expensive to live, like South Korea, I'm sure is probably really expensive to live.
Very much so.
If people are willing to live in the countryside or villages or whatever, or smaller cities, there's going to be a lot of real estate available for them to do so. So, yeah.
So far, none of the measures implemented by successive governments have flipped the trends in marriage and childbearing. Worse yet, the current government seems to be actively undermining efforts that gave women hope. This is a historical regression, says Ms. Chung, who was the Gender Equality Minister from 2017 to 2018. Society can't end the birth strike without acknowledging women's grievances, she says.
Mm.
Motivating Korean women to reconsider marriage and children involves infusing every aspect of their lives with agency and equality. A feminist approach would remove obstacles to motherhood simply by enforcing existing laws against workplace discrimination. It would destigmatize births outside of marriage and make domestic duties everyone's responsibility. It would condemn gender violence as reprehensible. A feminist approach would admit there's a systemic problem.
Do you agree with
It's,
that?
yeah,
Yeah, I do more or less too. I mean, we know there's different definitions of feminism.
yeah.
Um,
But, like
and
admitting it is the first step kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, I think that from what I'm getting, that this author is maybe a little bit thinks that the four knows is a little extremist
Extreme, yeah.
and that she's maybe more of what we would call like a liberal
A
feminist or
live
something.
thin. Uh-huh.
Yeah, which is not, let's give liberal feminism a little teensy, 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 tiny bit of credit for like,
Okay.
having good intentions of still wanting, more equality and things like that and reduce, I mean, there
Well,
are things that we overlap with the Lib Fems on, like they want less gender violence and stuff. They're just
for sure.
misguided in how they want to go about it because they want to operate within the status quo, which will never be good for women ever because it's status quo is patriarchy, which is harmful to women.
Yeah, I thought
So,
of the other day I was thinking about liberal feminism and radical feminism, and I
yeah.
feel like it's so very much like the little red hen parable, where
Mm.
radical feminists are the little red hen, and liberal feminists are everyone else who wants to eat the bread but not pick the grain or beat the grain or roll the dough or, you know.
Yes. Do the work. They
Exactly.
want
They want the change, but they're not willing to do anything.
Right, they're not, that's the thing is in order for there to be changes, there have to be changes, right?
Right.
That's it. Like in order, the system sucks. In order to change it, we actually have to change things. And
Right.
people they don't actually want any change,
Right.
you know? Like seeing, oh my God, I told you that I've been researching this inequality in women's housework and stuff and seeing women, on TikTok. I did a little research on TikTok. I don't normally go on there, but they're like in a full face of makeup talking about how they want to be treated like a human. And I'm like,
Well,
to me, it's just such an obvious, like, visual, cue that you've accepted your place as subhuman. And I know that, and everyone fights me on this because they don't see it that way.
I know, I know.
And, you know, don't fight me on that because it's like, it's kind of just, I don't know. It's like once you see it for what it is, like I never unsee it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I know you and I were talking about that a little bit. You mentioned the little redhead thing to me too, and
Oh, did I? Okay.
yeah, like just it changes are really painful. That's the thing. But
Of
like, what's on
course.
the other side? The other side is like something much, 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 much better than we have now. And even like Peanut's comment earlier about doing it quietly. And that's
Uh-huh.
totally an option. Like you just do it for yourself. You don't have to make a big thing about it. You don't have to be part of a group about it or whatever, but do it for
Yeah.
yourself because you are personally going to benefit from it. Don't forget at the end of the day, like feminism is like a movement that benefits all women, but you can make these changes in your life just for yourself and benefit from them on a
Yes.
personal level, you
Yes.
know? And
Yes. You
that's
can.
more, yeah, that's a more of an individualist, libertarian, if you want to go there, look at it
If you
rather
will.
than the collective, you know, movement that feminism should be.
Should be.
But yeah, at the very least, you can do it for yourself and you should.
Yes, agreed completely. I
Yeah,
agree.
I know.
Okay.
That's why we're friends.
It's clear that countries with a disproportionate division of childcare or lacking national paid parental leave, like Japan and the United States, also have plunging fertility rates. It's the same with China, where women inspired by South Korea started their own Four No's movement. Government data this month reveals its population is shrinking too. But countries with cooperative fathers and good family policies, like Sweden, or that recognize diverse companionships, like France, have been more successful at stabilizing or even bumping up births. The United Nations projects that South Korea's 51 million population will halve before the end of the century. Survival of the nation is at stake.
Interesting. So, um, look at that was another article that this author has written. If you scroll down a little bit, the little simple triggering men in South Korea's gender war. I think that's about the 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 pinchy fingers, maybe the
Yeah, it
pinching hand
is.
emoji.
How is that? Oh. Oh my god. Triggering
Yeah.
men in South Korea's gender
So
war.
that's interesting. Okay, if we go back to the original article, um,
Yes. Hold on. Bear with me.
other tab there. Yeah. Um, the nation will survive even if women stop having children,
Yeah.
or have fewer children. It's not like they're not having any. I think it's interesting this idea countries with cooperative fathers and good family policies like Sweden or that
Hmm.
recognize diverse companionships like France, which I think that she means probably gay people having children and things like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Which is pretty taboo in Asia, my
Yes,
understanding,
very much
anyways.
so.
Um, have been successful. Yeah, I mean, women, like we said earlier, women are sort of becoming aware how this is not beneficial to them.
Right.
And
They get nothing good out of it.
right, and so their eyes are opening and they're not doing it anymore. So you
Hmm.
either have to change the system to where okay, now all of a sudden it's actually good for women. It's actually good for women. Now, in my opinion, giving birth is never going to be good for women or liberating. That's my
Ooh,
personal opinion. I represent an extreme um, angle on that. But
I'm with you
to
on it.
me, physically, it's so dangerous, and women take on the burden. Even women who don't have children take on the burden of our complicated and often painful reproductive system. Um, I've said this many, many times, and I wrote about this in my essay that I don't know when it's coming out, but essay that I'm working on now. But in the reproductive
Yeah.
process, men just ejaculate and it feels good. And women do
Yep.
everything else. Everything else. Sometimes that's all the man does. Sometimes then he leaves and you never hear or see him again.
Correct.
So, in how is that ever going to be good or beneficial or liberating for a woman? I don't, I just don't see it. I guess if we would really have to be in a matriarchal society where we really put women on a pedestal and go above and beyond, making them whole. And we don't do that. And we're not anywhere close to that. And that's,
Oops.
you know, so, yeah.
Yeah. It's,
So
I just, go ahead.
they're talking about societies like Sweden or whatever, which they do have more equality there and they have
Mm-hmm.
more support for mothers. I mean, that's another important thing. Like, you can't be firing a woman for getting pregnant and then being like, why are women not getting pregnant?
Right. I wonder.
Right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts? Any more thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's awesome that Korean women are really definitely rallying together and saying no, fighting back. I wish women in the West would take up that mantle as well, but it is it's not happening here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that these women definitely are role models. The fact that, yeah, you can close it.
Okay.
The fact that 65% don't want kids is
That's
crazy.
huge. That's huge.
Yeah. Um, and that's normalizing that, you know?
Yes.
Like, I still think, I still get comments about how weird it is that I talk about being child free and not wanting to have kids.
I got some recently, actually.
You did?
Yeah. I had somebody really angry in my comments. Um, I had okay, on recently this comment made me laugh so hard from a guy, of course. And it was on a video I made
Yeah.
about like vetting men. And
Okay.
he said, just be lesbians. That's it. And if y'all want kids, there's this new thing out that makes you pregnant without being with a man. So just leave a heterosexual man alone, okay? That made me laugh so hard.
Oh, but you do.
I know. But like a woman, like he's just
But
mad that a woman is daring to speak out about like men being awful. And he's like, well, just leave men alone.
yeah,
Also, this new thing out that makes you pregnant without a man. That took me out.
sperm.
I guess he means in vitro.
Oh, oh, or like,
There's
yeah,
this new thing out. Like, okay, sir.
turkey baster.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
Yeah, that's Left of Stereotype says he went out of his way to comment on your
Yeah,
channel to leave men alone.
I
Like,
know. Oh, it's so
exactly.
funny.
It's like
So funny.
we're in our like little we're on peaceful island, you
I
know?
know.
Just stay away. Yeah, I got a comment from presumably a man, or he had a man's name on my last video about parking lot lady. And he just said,
Oh.
"Are you serious?" And I didn't reply, but
Yes.
it's like, "Are you serious?" Yes, I am serious.
So funny. That is so funny.
Yeah.
The same man also commented on a different video. Um,
Uh-huh.
if you read the Bible, you women literally come from the ribs of a man. We're not equal. It's just facts. It's like
Yes, those facts from the Bible.
the Bible. Like if you
The
read the
Bible's
Bible,
the
well,
literally the goofiest shit ever.
I know. I have read the Bible, sir, and I don't believe a word of it.
I know. Oh my god. You know, I just read a 44-hour book about
I
the Bible. It
know.
was Bible study.
Uh,
I've done so goddamn much Bible study in my life. It was studying the Bible that made me realize that the Bible is goofy.
I
Yeah,
know.
Lily says the Bible. It's just facts. I know, it's amazing how like people just stop there. They're like, "Oh, it's in the Bible. It's good."
I know. I
So,
know.
is
I
you
know.
know, there's shit in like Harry Potter too. That's a
I
book
know. I
also.
know. I
Is that
know.
real?
Oh my god. I
It's
thought
literally just a
something
book.
similar. I know. When people try to cite like it's in the Bible, I'm like, it's not real. Like in 2023, you're
Right.
arguing with me that the Bible says,
The
get
Bible's
out of
so
here.
fun. The Bible is so funny. Like the one that really kills me is like the flood, like in Noah's Ark and shit.
Uh-huh.
It's like people really think that that's like a factually scientific, like they'll make an
Oh
argument that
yeah.
that's like a factually scientifically like true thing that happened, like the whole earth
Oh yeah.
flooded and then
And that
everyone is
archaeology,
descendant.
yeah, and they'll
Yeah.
argue that archaeologists will one day find Noah's Ark.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean the real funny thing about the Bible is like even the people who wrote it intended it to be read metaphorically. Like they never intended
Right.
anyone to take that shit literally.
Oh
And
my
it's so much more
goodness.
powerful if you read it metaphorically than if you take it
Right.
literally. Like it's just hilarious. I don't know. Um
Ugh, I
yeah.
know. So funny. Um, Irradiated Woman said, if you ever need a laugh, look up the Creation Museum. Oh, yeah. We have talked about that before,
Oh
haven't we?
yeah.
It's so bonkers.
Field trip.
I know, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Hilarious. Bible
Turf
also
trap.
says that you can't pick up sticks on a Tuesday or something.
I know.
uh,
Uh, there's so much goofiness in so many religions.
truly.
It's all
Truly.
goofy. And like, ugh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm an atheist and I just,
Yeah.
okay.
Same. I don't use that. The reason I don't use atheist to describe myself, although that's de facto what I am, is because there's so many obnoxious men who use that term to
Right.
describe
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
themselves.
totally get that. I mean, I don't go
Yeah.
around saying, I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist.
Right.
But I mean,
Right.
yeah, I just,
I
yeah.
think that like there, I just like the idea of like atheism to me seems like its own thing, like it becomes its own structured thing where then
Right.
you have to now
Yeah.
adhere to this other thing, which I'm sort of
I
just
get that.
like I just want to like pick and choose my philosophy from what suits me, but humanism,
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like vibe with that.
Tell me more.
It's not like God based. It's just based on like treating other people well and stuff,
Uh-huh.
just
Yep.
being a human. So
You know what always gets me is when people say like, without God, there would be no morals, or like, how does an atheist person have any morals? It's like, if you have to have like a rule book telling you how to behave yourself, that's a little bit more scary to me than me not believing in that book.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course it's Christians are not necessarily the most moral people, right? Or like
Right. Or like, I heard like on a
so
podcast once a guy saying like, if it weren't for the Bible, there would be no reason for me to not be cheating on my wife every night of the week. And it's like, that is not the flex you think it is, sir. Like, way
uh
to expose yourself as you're a terrible person who's only doing the right thing because some mystical man in the sky might be watching,
yeah.
not
Dot dot
because you
dot.
feel a debt of trust and love and empathy and compassion and caring for the woman you're married to? Huh.
Yeah. I'm not gonna touch
Okay.
that one because I'm gonna get in trouble if I do.
Yikes.
um what's the religious in South Korea to keep it on topic here?
I don't know, but while you look
I'll
that
look it
up,
up.
I'm just going to read Stolen Bronze's comment, who said, I legit think men need religion and fear of a higher power to stop themselves from causing more chaos. Oh boy.
But so much chaos has been done in
Right.
the name of religion. Like, I'm not sure that
So much pain.
it's okay. South Korea, 46% no religion, 23% Buddhist. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
29% Christian.
Yep.
Um, National census said 56% have no religion. Um, yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So Christianity, Buddhism, Confucianism, and Islam. Um, Taoism, shamanism. So interesting, like much different profile than the US,
Mm-hmm.
which is 67% Christian.
Woof.
Yeah, woof. Let's see. What I was gonna look something else up. Um
Good times.
Nora says in Muslim countries they can't even set an age of consent for marriage because that would be going against the prophet who married a child. Very moral. Love
Mm-hmm.
that. Love that for them.
Uh-huh. I don't, yeah. Aisha was 9 years old, I think. And I just have never heard a good explanation from anyone defending that. Uh, like, they'll say things like, well, there was a different conception of childhood or womanhood back then. It's like, 9-year-olds are
Gross.
9-year-olds, whether it's a
Yeah.
thousand years ago or now.
They were playing with
Uh,
dolls too, you creeps.
right.
Um,
Right.
Existential says men are ruled by their weans. Above all else, they'll use religion or lack thereof to justify anything in service of this. Some Buddhism says women are inherently dirty. I do think of like any kind of organized or organized-ish religion, Buddhism.
Uh-huh.
I know it's sex. Some people think sexist too, but it has a lot to offer, in my opinion, philosophically. Um,
Existential Gamer followed it up, though. Uh, People used to recommend Buddhism to me, but then I read that females are incapable of enlightenment. They'd need to first be reincarnated as a man.
yeah, there's this word. I've been
Hmm.
trying to think of this word. I heard it a while ago. Maybe someone knows it, but it's like where you pick and choose things from different religions and philosophies to sort of like
Build your own
create
adventure.
something. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff in Buddhism that's like totally valuable.
Hmm.
So, maybe not that
Yeah.
you can't achieve enlightenment, lame. Um, but also just, you have to realize like every religion is just made up.
Right.
So there's
They're
nothing
all
wrong with
man
like picking the
made.
best. Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're all made by men. So there's nothing wrong with like picking the like best aspects of each one and incorporating that into your life.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like we were saying, the Bible is very goofy, but there's like some decent things in there, here and there. You know.
Of course. Yeah. Like, love your neighbor, give charity to the poor.
Yeah,
Like those are, yeah, perfectly good things to do.
yeah, like
Um,
actual Christianity, not the Christianity that people like practice
right.
now, but okay. So this is what I'm
Yeah, we've been
working
talking about
on my
this.
essay about. I've been listening to it nonstop and I've been
Uh-huh.
so yeah, I'm working on an essay. It's gonna be like a deep dive, and that's not usually what I do. Like, you know, those YouTube video essays
Hmm.
where people go like deep on a topic. That's what I'm trying to do, and I hope that like people will get something out of it. But I don't know. Because it's not my usual thing. Like it's definitely adjacent to what I normally do, but I'm just a little like scared a little bit. But yeah, the song is
It's gonna be
amazing. The
amazing.
video is amazing.
Yes.
So I have a lot to say about it. I I studied film in school, so I have that training in analyzing
Yep.
media like that. So hopefully it'll be good. I don't know. I'm not like I have more confidence that I normally have, but I'm sort of like, well, am I adding anything to this? Like, when you can analyze a piece of art to
Yeah.
death, and that like so, okay, there's this quote that's like, writing about music is like dancing about architecture, meaning
Uh-huh.
like you can't really pull it, like the music just stands on its own. It says what it needs to say
Mhm.
for itself, like analyzing it. But I'm going to try to pull in like facts about, because actually very on topic with their stream tonight, the inequality in
Yeah.
women's
Labor.
in relationships. Yeah, women do the majority of labor and they don't get the benefit out of it and stuff like that. So there's
Mhm.
so many statistics and things. And why is this song resonated so much, where there's thousands and thousands of comments and
Uh-huh.
stitches or whatever people do on TikTok? I'm not hip to that stuff, but like, it's really, really, really resonated. And it's sort of like, okay. And I say this in the essay that like, is it refreshing to see this song resonating with women? Because to me, it makes me a little nervous, because I'm like, I don't want to get my hopes up that anything's going to
Right.
change, or that women are really gonna, like, it's like, okay, cool, this song's like trending this week, or it's went viral, and then back in 2 weeks from now, it'll be
2
back to the
weeks
same,
back
like,
to,
yeah, we'll be
yeah,
back
no
to the
change.
same idolizing, Chris Brown or something. You know what I mean? Like the
Ugh.
bullshit that we live with, of like,
Uh-huh.
okay, you got your eyes open. Now what are you going to do with it? That's what I want from this next generation of women. You get it. You see it. Your eyes are open. Now, are you going to keep doing the same shit that every other generation of women has done? Or are you going to do
Yes.
something and change something? Cuz don't get my hopes up about this, you know?
Honestly. Yeah, there has to be action. There has to be action.
Yeah, you can't just write a comment and be like, "Wow, the song and the video, it's what every," there's so many comments on that YouTube video. It's like, this is thousands of generations of women, and it's all culminating this moment where we're saying no more. And then I'm like,
Are
okay,
you
are
though?
you? Or are you gonna go fucking do your boyfriend's laundry now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you know,
Like, you're gonna
unfortunately,
turn
what
the
the
song
fucking
off
answer
and do your
is.
boyfriend's laundry. Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And do a freaking hashtag boy mom post on Instagram.
Yeah, and there were a lot of like cope type comments in there too that were like, I am so glad my relationship's not like that.
Oh,
And I'm like, you realize that she's not talking about one individual. Like, that's what I think people need to know, definitely need to know about that song is that she's not just saying this is like one bad relationship that she had or something. This,
uh-huh.
she is talking about this universal experience that all women go through, you know?
Exactly.
um, why are men so gross? I don't know.
They're allowed to be. That's what I was laughing at. Imagine.
Just imagine.
That's the
Just
reality of some women's
imagine.
lives.
And then who says, well, I'm getting married and she agreed to do my laundry. Ugh.
Got it all
Shudder.
sorted out.
Shudder. Good. Good for you. Great work. I'm sure she'll be really happy with that arrangement.
Oh, great comment from Mars Junkie Girl.
Yeah.
I just want to see women give up makeup and heels, etc. Something that sticks in my head is if you
Mm,
can't even manage inaction, how can you even do action?
I love that.
Great
I
comment.
love that so much. It's the simplest thing, but you gotta do it. You gotta just do it.
Right. And you can't get better at it or get more comfortable at it or more confident with it until you practice and start doing it.
Exactly, radical. You said it, my friend.
You have
It's
to do
it
it.
it takes practice and you're not going to be good at it at first, actually.
Right.
I'll
Or
just say that.
comfortable or
Yeah, if
whatever.
you want to say good at it, comfortable.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. When
But
I
you will
stopped,
get to
yeah,
you will
you'll
get to a point where like you and I are, I
yeah,
don't even think about my face in the
never,
world anymore. I
never.
don't even consider the possibility of getting up earlier to like do my hair or makeup or whatever. Like you will get there, but you have to get there.
Yep. Yeah. I know. I'll just mention it many times and I'll say it again. When I stopped wearing makeup, I looked ugly to myself for probably like at least 6 months or something
Mm,
afterwards. Every time I would go past a mirror, like so if I went in the
yeah.
bathroom to use the bathroom, however many times a day, every time I go past that mirror, I'm like, wow, you're ugly. Okay. But guess
Mm,
what? That went away.
yeah.
And now I just look normal to myself. But yeah,
Yep.
obviously, if you're used to like seeing yourself with all of your best features accented or whatever, makeup does,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna look weird to yourself for a while and then it goes away. And
Yeah,
so that's part of the process. You
you
have
have
to
to
be willing to do
deprogram.
that. Yeah, it's like I know you love coffee, but you know when you drink, because I have been a coffee drinker too, but I don't drink coffee now. When you drink coffee every day and you wake up and you need coffee to feel like yourself,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's the same thing. It's like you need makeup to look like yourself,
Oh
otherwise
yeah.
you don't look like yourself. So it's the same thing, but when you quit coffee for a while, you're not going to feel like yourself and you're going to feel terrible and you want to go
Ugh,
back to it.
the
And
withdrawal.
yeah, and it's the same thing, you know? Um
Hazel
Endeavor
says,
says,
oh, go ahead.
oh, you know,
I was just going to say, Hazel said, coffee is a hug and a mug, Lisa. You stop.
I know I'm not don't nobody has to give up their coffee for me. Keep your coffee. That's
You
fine.
know, like Hazel,
Just
like
saying
Hazel, I'm an addict.
as yeah. Oh, I have been too. And
I am
you
fully.
know, I will say it is nice to wake up and just feel normal. Although
No.
I have to look at the internet to wake
Hmm.
up. So am I any better than a person drinking coffee? No. And it's not really
I
like
don't
about that, but
I don't need to drink coffee in the morning to like feel normal. Like I feel fine without it, but
yeah.
it's like 1 or 2 o'clock is when the headache starts, and then I'm screwed.
Mm,
Like
yeah.
I that that coffee withdrawal headache is so bad.
Yeah.
Oof.
Dude,
And I
I know.
know how to make it go away. And
Right.
that's addiction, right?
Yeah. And like you'd probably have to go through like a week or two of that,
Ugh.
till it even starts to like wear off. I know the last time I quit coffee, I didn't feel really normal in the morning for like, this is going to sound insane, but for maybe like a year.
Mm.
Like, I was just like a one, maybe two cups a day.
Ugh.
So I know that other times I've been like drinking coffee regularly that it's been shorter, like it's been a few weeks or something. But yeah, I don't know. Endeavor says, I used to
Mm.
be self conscious about my body hair, but now I think my body looks weird without it. Like, no thanks. I'd rather not look like a child. I genuinely enjoy how I look with hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely leg hair is
Well,
um
if it wasn't supposed to be there, it wouldn't grow there. Like
yeah,
evolution would have taken care of that by now.
it's another thing that you can adjust to and get used to.
Hmm.
I vastly prefer it, but then for me, it's like a sensory thing, and I will
Yeah.
get to the point where like probably once every 6 months I do like buzz it.
Yeah.
So, and then I start the process over again, but
Yeah.
I never shave it like with a razor, but I'll just buzz it down
Bzzz.
because it just gets like it gets so long where I'm just like, it takes a while to get that way though, because like hair grows in cycles. So it's
Yeah.
like only, I'm not sure with legs, but it's like only 20% or something of your hair is growing at any one time. Different
Right.
body parts are different. Um, so like some hair will grow out and then like over the months it will, know, other hairs will then grow. Do you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's
Hmm.
like you reach a point where it's like, okay, now it's getting like super long and thick. That's just me, but like I don't care. Like I'm a swimmer and I go to the public pool with 6 months of leg hair growth
Hmm. Me
and I
too.
don't even think about it. I don't even nobody looks at me, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares at all. And I have dark leg hair too, even though I'm blonde, my leg hair is like it's not like black, but it's pretty dark.
Yeah.
It's
I've
thick.
told this
So
story
yeah.
before, but I have thick, dark Eastern European stock body hair. And uh the first time I went to a pool without shaving, I was about to walk out the door and I was like, oh my God, I haven't shaved my legs in months. Oh no. Crap. But I had to go because I had no time. I had to go.
Yeah.
And I went to the pool and I was like uncomfortable. This was early 2020, by the way. This was not that long ago.
Mhm.
And I went to the pool and I was like uncomfortable and I was like, oh, my legs and my armpits. And nobody cared.
Nobody cared. Yeah.
No one looked. No one
Exactly.
said anything. It was fine and I had fun. So, like, no one
Yeah.
cares. Believe me, no
Yeah.
one cares.
No one
Everyone is too
cares.
busy thinking about their own shit and like what you're thinking of
Even if they
them.
notice, it's like they don't care. People just straight up do not care whether you have leg
Yeah.
hair. They'll at most they'll be like, "Huh, okay." you
Yeah.
know? Existential says, I have a sensory thing about hair too. Every few weeks I shave, but I used to shave every single day in my 20s. It's work in progress.
Whoa.
My thing with shaving is I always had the itchiest legs. So like if I shaved
Mm,
them like a day or two later, it would be like I would itch my skin off. I'd have
mm,
like where your skin turns all like
red.
yeah, from
Scabby.
from itching where you just itch like the top layer of skin off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
Ooh.
and I was always like, do other women not have that problem? Because my skin is like unbelievably itchy.
Uh,
Like and I would moisturize and stuff. Okay, so ice goddess. get what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. But like, yeah, so I either had to shave like every day or like wait, quite a long time in between till it's like grown out more. Cause otherwise I would get so like irritated and itchy and awful. But that's why when I do remove my leg hair, I use the clippers,
Yeah.
because then it doesn't like shave it down to the skin or whatever. But yeah, um ingrown hairs, yeah, it's just, again, and also like once it grows out quite a bit, it's very soft usually, right? Like it's not like,
Mm-hmm.
that stubbly feeling and
Yeah,
stuff.
very soft. Nice. As I'm rubbing my own legs right now.
um yeah, I do shave my underarms.
I do as well
That
for the
I
same
do.
reason as Mary Jane. I have let them go for so long till they get really hairy. But I
Hmm.
have found that I've tried multiple different kinds of deodorants and I feel, well, not don't feel, I am stinky. So I have continued to shave my armpits for that reason because then I don't stink.
Yeah, for me it's like an aesthetic thing. Like I think armpit hair is, don't nobody come for me. I think armpit hair is kind of gross, like aesthetically on men also. Like I just it's just gross to me. I don't know.
Oh,
So
I
that's
don't
what it
care
is.
either way.
Yeah, I mean I shave my underarms probably like every week and a half or something like that. So I do,
I'm about that too.
yeah, once it starts to accumulate, but I I don't use deodorant like often because I
Mm.
know like if you shave, you should wait like a day or whatever.
Yeah.
But I find if I take a shower every 24 hours, then unless something really stressful happens, I don't really need it. I don't really
Oh,
smell, but like, I also like
well,
work from home and stuff. So it's not
yeah,
like, yeah,
I have stinky armpits. So even though obviously I bathe, but
right.
yeah, so I shave
Yeah.
for that reason because I find deodorant works better that way. Uh, and I would rather
Yeah.
shave my armpits and not be stinky. So
I'm a little
come
paranoid
for me, I guess.
when it comes to shaving and using deodorant because like I feel like it's like the skin's open, right? And it's going to
Yeah.
absorb whatever you're putting there and like that freaks me out a little bit, but we're all going
I
to
don't do it
die of
immediately after
cancer
shaving.
anyways, so
Yeah.
yeah. Um Interesting. Rad femme hygiene dog. These are the things that we need to discuss once in a while.
Yeah, there's two comments in the chat from Ice Goddess
Oh,
and Blurbo. Ice Goddess says, it sucks because you do stink more because more surface area. And then Blurbo said, my armpits hold the
oh,
stink in actually. And I have heard that said so many times, like that's what armpit hair is for and stuff. But that has just not been my experience.
ah,
I have had the bushiest of armpits and I put deodorant on and it just does not cut it at all.
interesting.
For me. And so when I remove the hair and then I use deodorant, I am far less likely to be stinky. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think smelling good's important.
Yeah.
So,
I just don't want
short
to
of
smell like
using perfume,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, I can appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
Whatever. I got this. Okay. We love you anyways.
Yeah.
Um Oh, Quinn says, I haven't shaved at all since early 2019. I didn't even know what feminism was. I just hated shaving my hair. Everywhere is thin though, so it doesn't really affect my scent. Yeah, I stopped shaving before I knew about radical feminism too. I stopped
Me
shaving
too.
in 2016 or something. Um, and I actually made like a vlog about it. at one point when I was daily vlogging, talking about, why. For me, it was just realizing, it's weird because it's like I've come to a lot of the things, or I came to a few of the things of radical feminism, like just organically on my own, just by thinking about them. But like the idea that my brother doesn't shave his legs, but I was
Right.
shaving mine, I'm like, and at first, like both my parents were like, this is disgusting.
Mm,
And then I'm like, well, why don't you say that about Brad? Like my
yeah.
brother, Like, is it disgusting that he doesn't do it? No. Okay, so why is it disgusting if I don't do
Right.
it?
I know. And
And it was just, yeah.
you always hear women who don't do this being criticized for bad hygiene. And it's like, how come a man can walk around with a fucking rug on his back and he's not
Ew.
unhygienic? Like, what
Right.
are you talking about hygiene?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Ugh. I got in trouble from my mom the
Sure.
first time I shaved my legs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I was
Yeah. Yeah.
nine-ish, I think, because just based on the house we were living in.
Whoa.
And I had just done it in the bathtub.
Wow.
And I didn't know, but obviously when the water drained, like all the hairs were stuck everywhere. And my mom was so mad at me because that was for
Whoa.
adults and not for little girls.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I started shaving when I was 10,
I was
like
11 and I
on
did
a
because I
regular
had
basis.
mm, yeah, I was 11 and I
Yeah.
did because I had broken my leg and so I had had a cast for months. And then
Oh,
once I got the cast removed, like the hair was so much thicker, darker than my other leg. Um, and so that's why I started shaving.
interesting.
Yeah,
Wow.
good old broken
That's very
leg.
interesting. Wow. Yeah. I was 10 and I just wanted to grow up,
Hmm.
but I had like I had blonde like hair, before I
Yeah.
became an adult. Like couldn't even see it. Um Blorbo says perfume gives me headaches. Me too. Even when
Oh,
someone else is wearing it. Yeah. Some people have like a gene or something that perfume
right.
bothers them. I definitely do.
I I am a bad turf, and I do love a perfume.
You do? Do you have a
I
particular one you
know.
like?
Yes.
You do? I'm kind of
Yeah.
curious. Like, you don't have to say if you don't want to. You can text
Oh,
me.
it's fine. I don't care. It's Cloud by Ariana Grande. It's so
You are the
nice. I love it.
funniest.
I
You are
know.
the funniest.
I
No,
love it.
some perfume gives me headaches, and that's why I don't like try to wear it myself. I used to wear L'Occitane Peonies, which was like really smelled really good and didn't give me a headache. And I can say I can appreciate, when I go to yoga class and I can tell the women there wearing perfume, or like, when I used to work
Mhm.
with men and they would walk by and they're wearing cologne and it smelled really good. It's like, something about scent is a very,
Important sense.
yeah, it's very primal. I'm sure you know this, but scent is the only sense of our five senses, or I guess there's a sixth sense, I don't know, of our five senses that isn't processed in the frontal cortex. Did you
Oh,
know
I don't
that?
think I did know that.
It's
No.
it's processed by your olfactory whatever. It's in your like limbic system, right
Hmm.
next to your whatever triggers like memories and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really like a very primal sense. Like we don't you don't there's no like thinking happening. Like
Hmm.
it's just like a reaction. Um
Yeah, and it's the
so
sense the sense that's most strongest tied to your memory, but also
Yeah.
like it allows you to evaluate your own health and stuff too,
Oh, yeah,
because you can smell
absolutely.
if something is off. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
very interesting.
When you had COVID, did you lose your sense of smell?
So briefly, and
Okay.
frankly, it was after all of my other symptoms had subsided and I was back to work. It was so I
Interesting.
tested positive on a Thursday. I was back to work the following Wednesday. And I think it was the Friday after that that I lost taste and smell for about 2 days.
Mm, interesting. That would freak me out. I have like an insane sense of smell. Like I can smell things
Me
that
too.
nobody else can.
I
Yeah,
have a really
that's
strong
awesome.
smell.
Yeah. I think it's like maybe a hormonal too thing. I don't know.
Right?
Um, yeah, I've always been able to like smell just super subtle stuff. And it's
Yeah.
funny because my mom is friends with this guy and he works at like a perfume company or something. And it's like that's like a job. Like if you have a really good sense of smell, like you can do that as your
Yeah, you
career.
could be a smeller.
Yeah.
The other
I
day,
probably
the other
should
day
look
I
into
was
that.
in a candle store. It's a
Yeah.
like a locally owned company, but they have a storefront now, and I was in there and smelling all the things. Oh, so good.
Mm, yeah.
That would be like the dream job. It's just like, yeah, being a sniffer.
Yeah, for real. Um,
Oh, so good.
yeah, Radiated Woman says, I enjoy my collection, but floral blends will make me miserable, headachy, and blah. Yeah, I wonder if it's like
Mhm.
specific scents that like are more triggering.
I think so because I
Existential
despise
Gamers.
florally stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Oh,
despise florally
sits.
scents as well, but I
Hmm.
like earthy, musky, woodsy. I love those.
Hmm. Yeah, that's super
Okay, sorry.
interesting. No, I just want to say that Existential Gamer said Sex Panther, as far as I can tell, apropos of nothing.
What?
um,
Oh, okay.
whoop.
Hi.
Uh, Salad Caesar says aromatherapy should be studied more. Okay, Soyeon Kim says, hello, I'm a Korean feminist. I heard about this live and surprised that Korean feminism could be a topic for everyone. I think you're talking about another topic now, but thanks. I'll watch it from the beginning. Oh, thank you for coming. If you have
Yes.
anything you want to tell us about, please feel free. Yeah,
We're
the
very
way we do
interested in Korean
things,
feminism.
yeah, definitely. And I feel like it's the kind of thing, I've heard about it from other Western white women, right? I have never talked to a Korean woman about the topic. And yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And I feel like there's a bit of a divide between the way that we do feminism and the way they do feminism, but obviously there's a lot of similarities too. And I think the divide probably comes from the communication barrier, I guess, seeing as
Hmm.
I don't speak Korean and no one I know does. So we have to kind of read things secondhand rather than going to the source material.
Yes, but thank you for
Yeah.
popping in here
Thanks.
because we are so
Yeah,
interested.
definitely. Yeah, it's
Yeah, we're
something it's something we actually talked about maybe doing a two-parter talking about it next
hmm
week too, but there's quite a few interesting articles about it.
Yep.
Um yeah, and it's interesting, like I don't know how what their relationship is to like what we would consider liberal feminism, and like
Right.
how dominant radical feminism is there as far as like any kind of feminism, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
how in the US and Canada, liberal feminism is the dominant form of feminism and we're sort of like the fringe.
Yeah. It would be interesting to know also in South Korea, if yeah, when it comes to liberal feminism, like, do they also have the um lipstick, like the blood of my enemies type shit, like, right, like, or how it's
Yeah,
empowering, because
right.
it's so,
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
Hannah says, let's start learning Korean so we can talk to Korean
Right.
feminists. The beauty thing is really interesting, and the article didn't go into that at all. And that's something, yeah, because that's such a big part of the conversations that we have. And K beauty, like Korean beauty
Hmm.
is like, first of all, their beauty standards are insane, and the glass skin and like the million
Yeah,
steps of
the
their
plastic surgery.
routine. Yeah. And yeah, plastic surgery and all of that kind of stuff. And here we get told that all of that can be liberating and empowering on some level for women.
Yeah.
And, and it's beauty has sort of like been co-opted as this feminist thing or something, which is so insane. But like, I wonder if they, have any have anything like that. Yeah.
Cringy
Hey
lip kind of stuff.
Nana.
Hi, Nana.
I'm late, but have you guys read the book about Korean feminism in English, Fires of Flower? It was good, except the author's stupid opinions sprinkled in.
Mm,
Lol. No, I will write it down.
yeah, no kidding.
Speaking of books, I got Invisible Women today.
Heck yeah.
Have
I
right?
confess I have read up to chapter 1.
Oh, okay, that's not that much.
Okay.
I want to
Don't
read
cancel
it.
me.
I want to read it. What? That's not much. I thought you were going to say I confess I read the whole thing. No,
No.
I want to
Only a
read it
little
with
bit.
you.
Yeah.
And I want to invite our audience to read it too.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it. We need a like a schedule. What's our reading schedule going to be?
Yeah, we do need that. And when will get
I
together?
saw
Oh yeah, I
that.
thought you meant like, that's cute. Well, I know you're going to be in more Eastern Canada, and I said that
Yes,
I
I will
wanted to
be in
come.
Montreal.
I wanted to come to Montreal, but like I don't know. I was thinking, oh, because you're going. You can say you're going for.
Formula 1.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what you want to talk about it or not.
Oh, I
That
don't
you're
care.
going for Formula One, but I know sometimes like when an event like that descends on a city, then there's like
It's
no hotel
chaos.
rooms and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my only concern about going up there. But it's like, oh, I could stay like 2 hours away and come in for the day and hang out with you or something. Because it's not
Yeah,
that far for me. Like it's like a 5 hour drive.
that's not far.
Like it's not far at all. It's like one
Yeah.
hour, hour and a half past the Adirondacks, which I go all the time.
Yeah.
So anyways, like let me know. I haven't been on any like trips or anything.
I'm down.
So yeah.
I'm gonna sneeze
Let's see what else.
again.
Oh.
No, it's gone now. Expired Milk says
Oh,
Formula One Rad Femme live stream. Listen, I will be at the track for 3 days. I will be otherwise occupied.
dude, I told you that you need to make a Formula One channel because you're like an expert at it.
I am not. I've only been in the sport for like a year.
Oh, really? That's so
Yes, I only
funny.
started
You're
watching.
like
My first
diehard
race I watched
fan.
was July.
Wow, and you just like
I
you got
know.
in. You
I'm
went all
all
in.
in, consuming
That's
everything. I
cool.
love it. It's my problematic opinion is that I love a sport that's exclusively for the insanely wealthy. Ugh.
Hey,
I love
look,
it.
none of us are perfect.
Expired
It is funny though.
milk. Haas is gonna get the
Is
podium
that a
someday.
is that a
Oh, they're
driver?
a bottom tier team.
Oh, okay,
They're
got it.
probably never ever gonna get on the podium, so it's kind of a funny joke. But
Um,
who is Lewis
race
Hamilton?
car lesbians.
Say asked who is Lewis Hamilton. Do
I
you
don't
know
know
who
who
Lewis
that is
Hamilton
either.
is? Oh my god,
No.
he's
I
the
know the
most
guy that you I know the guy you like.
Max
I
Verstappen.
can't remember his name. Yeah, yes. That's right.
Lewis Hamilton is a 7-time world champion. He is potentially one of the most successful drivers of all time, but he's having a shit the last 2 years. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Lily, I love every bit of RR lore we've gotten so far. I know. I contain
I know that,
multitudes.
dude, the lore is the funnest part.
Oh
Um,
boy. Anyway,
I want to people are talking about TRAs. I want to make a
wait,
video. Yeah, go on.
my friend just texted me right now. She's also a
Okay.
lesbian turf. And she said, I just saw the worst license plate ever. It's MOM2XY, mom two boys. Then she said, boy moms are insane.
No, you know what I was thinking about today is when it's a family, when it's like say three sons and a daughter, how that's
Mm-hmm.
like because I always thought like my nightmare situation is like being married and then having only sons and being the only woman in the house, but also being the only daughter amongst boy
Oof.
children
No
would
thanks.
be no.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Lily says tattoos, pink hair, face, race car, lesbian, Ariana Grande, Cloudwear. Oh my
cloud
god.
wearer.
Too
Leave
funny.
me alone.
Too funny.
The
Oh,
war. That's so funny.
yeah. Boy Bob.
Oh,
Um,
too funny.
Girl mom. We don't talk about that
Mm,
enough. Um,
yeah. Boy moms like uplift their sons, and girl moms damage their daughters. Oh, Mango Peel says she was
mm,
the only sister and has 3 brothers.
mm,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I I have two sisters and a brother. My brother is
Oh,
way
he's.
older
Mhm.
than all of us. So, um so and he went away to private school for some reason. It was private school for the boy, but then the girls went to public school. Okay, whatever. Kind of sexist, um but he went away to boarding school. So it was really just me and my sisters, but my sisters like tortured me. It wasn't like a like fun, loving
Oh.
dynamic. It was like they just bullied the shit out of me like every single day, but
Mm.
whatever.
Oh.
Um, but so yeah, it was in our house. It was like 4 women and my dad. My dad did all the housework and basically still does. So I don't know. I guess that's how I came out. How I came out.
Yeah. I'm the oldest child, and I have a younger sister only, so there's just 2 of us, 2 girls. Nana said older
Yeah,
sisters are allowed a little bullying as a treat. I agree as an
that's
oldest
true. I did
sister.
get I was the baby, so like I got crazy attention. Then
Ugh,
my sister who's one older, she had like major middle child syndrome.
I bet.
So,
I have
yeah,
oldest daughter
I
syndrome.
You do.
Oh yeah.
You're responsible, trustworthy.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're responsible. I grew up with like out any rules, you know? No rules.
Literally
No.
expired
My
milk.
parents were
Comment.
done by the time they got to me. Um
It's never my fault. I don't make the rules. Uh-huh. Little sisters.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was more like my parents just were done like being parents by the time they got to me. My
I
parents were
know. I'm
super
just
old.
teasing.
They were like 40. They were like, I was an accident, you know, and I knew that from when I was little. That was nice that they shared that with me. I don't think it affected me in any kind of like a negative way, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, unplanned pregnancy. They plan to have 3. They have 4. So
Uh,
yeah, but I didn't have any rules, but it worked out for me because I'm just kind of like, I'm not like a, you know, I'm kind of like a low, what's the word? Like when you don't need a lot of stimulation to like be happy. Like I don't need to go out and party and like do drugs and stuff. You know what I mean? So it was like, I didn't really need rules because like I don't really care about that stuff. It doesn't do anything for me. I mean, I
yeah.
partied a little bit when I was young, but like
Yeah,
I
me
was
too.
pretty chill about it.
Yeah.
Oh boy, as the younger sister, I got all the attention in the form of parental abuse. Sorry to hear that. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Agnes and Brace said, let's be honest, most kids are unplanned. That's quite true, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Um, this was my, I'm laughing because this was my experience. My parents for real gave up with my little sister. I wasn't allowed to do this and that. They just go A and
Me
let her
too.
do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. That's an interesting dynamic. Parents that like, you know,
Yeah.
they put a
I
lot
had
of
like
effort in and then they're like, okay, whatever.
yes, and I had like a lot of rules, like you can't do this, you can't do that, no doing this until you're this age, blah 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 blah. And then my little sister came along and she got to do it all. And nobody cared.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the F?
Yeah.
Rude.
Uh, yeah. Zay says, Lisa, on a random note, I want you to play Last of Us,
Ooh.
please. I started it. I played it for a couple hours, and it was the gameplay was just kind of, you know, I really want you to accept my PlayStation 4, and we can play on voice chat, and we can play whatever these people want to see us play together. But really, what we need to play is Life is Strange because you will die. It is the best game ever. And I'm just saying, just gonna
All
mention
right,
it
all right,
on
all
the
right.
stream. Okay,
Okay.
you know, it's not. All you have to do is accept my PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's too nice.
yes, see, Endeavor knows. Life is Strange, please. Okay, it's the best girl game ever made. It's so it's about the depth of these two girls' friendship and like it's
Hmm.
so amazing. So yeah. Um anyways, I'm gonna bully you into playing. It's a 12-hour video game. We could play it over like 6 streams. It would be so fun. I'm gonna need something else because I'm almost done with Harry Potter. I'm probably gonna do like 2 more Harry Potter streams. So I'm just saying,
Ooh.
just saying. There's no other game that depicts teen girls the way Life is Strange does. It is um radical ramblings. Allow a bonding moment for fuck's sake. Okay, thank you. Like
I appreciate the generosity and the kindness. It's a big thing to
it's
do.
not. It's really not. It's really not. It's really not. Okay. Like literally I have got a PlayStation that's just sitting there collecting dust.
Okay.
That's us. This is sitting there collecting dust. You know, if you don't want to tell me your address or whatever so I can send it to you, then that's fine. That's the different issue,
Oh
and
no,
that's
it's not
fine.
that. I don't care.
Okay, so look at this, you know?
Okay. We can. All right. Okay.
Okay.
That's just so generous. I just.
It's literally just, it's like selfish of me because I want to play with you. That's what it is. Don't even look at it as generous. I'm like, I'm the being selfish.
Okay.
But anyways,
All right.
yeah. Oh, yes, and that's also, you can make it into a gay game too.
Okay. You've
So it's
convinced
got that
me.
dynamic. I didn't go that route when I played, but you know, the whole game is you're making choices about it's just like I can't put it into words that
Aw,
you know,
it's that nice.
yeah.
Aw. Okay.
So anyways, I think you'd be blown away by it, but
Okay.
and then you could play Harry Potter when it comes out on PlayStation PS4. It's not out. Did I play Horizon Zero Dawn? Yes, I did, and I enjoyed it. I started playing Forbidden West when my brother was over, and I said to him that he and I should stream a little of that too, because that's like it's a strong female character.
Very good.
Hello, fellow teens. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, enough video games. But we're gonna turn Radical into a gamer. It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait.
Oh
That's why I'm
boy.
saying it's just selfish on my part. Um,
Okay.
so it's also a good game to start with because it's not like there's no combat or anything. It's literally just decision making and walking around. So it's not like
Fun.
complicated to try to like. Yeah, it's just about like your relationships with people, and it's hard to, it's not like Harry Potter that you've been watching me play. Like it's just a totally it's like playing choose your own adventure like novel or
Very
something,
nice.
Yeah. Anyways, just gonna shut up about that now.
No, it's fine.
So is there anything else we want to talk about? I know people were talking about TRAs, and I have an idea for an essay. Let me see. You laughing?
No.
Are you
I
s-
said ooh.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Your
So
idea for an
I
essay.
want to, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna kind of go at whatever pace that I go at with the essays, because it's like, I don't know, if I can write a couple hours every day, whatever, it just, how I go, it ebbs and flows, whatever. Like sometimes I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, I just put 20 hours into this video that 200 people watched and blah, blah, blah. Like and I just have to accept, like, it's always going to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, oh, okay. Hold on a second.
Yes, I
Uh,
know.
I think most of Korean are anti-feminist, so liberal or radical isn't important to them. Interesting. So we just do the most radical we can to change society, and it's 4B. 4B is most powerful and effective tool that can be used by radical feminists. It's like a declaration that we don't want to be women that society wants us to be. Only for myself and women's rights, we focus on education, success on work, healthy life, etc., instead of men or being loved by men. So,
Amazing.
yeah, I love that.
Brava.
Yeah. Education, successful work, and a healthy life. And honestly, like what I say to women, the women we talk to,
Yeah,
is like at most men in your life should be like decorative. Like you should have the complete full life without men,
correct.
right? Like if you
You're
need
the
that
Barbie, he's
piece,
Ken,
right?
right? He's just an accessory.
Right. at most. But,
Yeah.
I personally like, I don't have sex with men, and I don't think other women should either,
Right.
you know?
I agree.
Um, well, thank you. We enjoyed your comments, and it's
Yes,
great
thank
to
you
have
so
someone
much.
here who, has a firsthand experience with that. We really appreciate that because,
Thank
very
you.
often, like you and I have talked about issues from other cultures, and we just dip in and learn about it and then
Mm-hmm.
go back to our world. And so it's really cool to like have someone pop in who is actually living that. That's quite amazing, really.
So amazing. It was really exciting to
Yeah.
see that pop up.
Yeah, really, really cool. I know. And then of course we're just like off talking about whatever, but that's how our streams tend to go. Read our
Yeah.
article and then ramble about for a
See where
couple
it goes.
hours, an hour or whatever, which I think is also really important, to not that.
Yeah, have a chat space.
Yeah, exactly. And have a space for women to congregate and talk about whatever's on our mind and whatever comes up. And yeah, thank you to everyone who participates and contributes, and whatever you bring to it. Nora
Seriously.
says, "I'm glad I joined the stream. Usually I miss them and watch them later." I really do think that streams are meant to be experienced live.
Yeah.
Although I go back and watch our streams and I think
I do
they're
too.
that's just
Well,
because
I
I
just
I
have
don't
such
know.
a
Yeah,
good time doing it
I'm glad.
live. And then I like to
Yeah,
go back and be like, that was so much fun.
yeah, I agree. And I often, because frequently when we're talking, I'm not even looking at the screen. Because I
Uh-huh.
need to, when I talk, I need to focus. So I'll be like looking off on the other side of the room or whatever. And then so I miss a lot of the chat. And then I'll
Yeah.
go back and I'll be like, oh man, like there's so many good comments that I wish I'd pulled out and talked about. But it's just the nature of it. Like, um, but yeah, no, I wanted to just say quickly because we are like almost coming up on 2 hours, but
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk about bodily autonomy. I just think this is a
Mm-hmm.
really, really, really good topic for people who are interested in the trans stuff. That this idea that um, trans medicine is similar to abortion as far as issues go, because
Ugh.
they're both, and actually, so like I want to just throw this around a little bit to see what people say and if you have things to say about it too, because it's like this topic that's kind of been sitting in my mind for a couple months now. I think it's like a good jumping off point, but I'm like I don't know exactly how to cement or like why they're different, but I know they are different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I kind of need, like, I need to brainstorm it a little bit as to, okay, I'm just gonna actually take a couple notes, okay?
Yeah.
And the reason I actually kind of became interested in like writing about this topic is because it was Kelly J who brought up this idea that we shouldn't be giving kids this trans medicine or
Yeah.
surgeries or whatever. And so, maybe we should also rethink underage girls' access to abortion and birth control, which is not really a feminist take. And this is not to attack Kelly J. Like, I really don't care. She's off doing her
Uh-huh.
thing, whatever. But that point I think is really important because it's funny, like, horseshoe theory, that when you go on the extreme one end of an issue and extreme other end of the issue, actually they say a lot of the same things, because TRAs will also say that. And I know there was an article in the New York Times by that guy, Jenny Boylan, that was the same thing. It was like trans rights and abortion rights are two sides of the same coin. I think that was actually like the title of the article was very similar to that. And so it's like TRAs are making this argument. Oh, they're saying, well, we should allow abortion rights. You know, we should allow access to abortion, which in the US currently we don't really have that, you know. We should allow access to abortion and birth control. And therefore, because women should have bodily autonomy, and therefore any trans person of any age should have access to hormones and surgery, just like women should have access. And now, you know, we've heard from the gender critical side, well, at least children we know shouldn't have access to hormones and surgery, and therefore we should also rethink girls' access to abortion and birth control as like, so it's like the opposite side, right? It's like they're both falling under this bodily autonomy, quote unquote. And I would say her position is, you know, I haven't really heard that specific argument from conservatives, but yeah, of course, conservatives also fall on that. You know, conservatives want to limit access to abortion and birth control, and conservatives want to limit access to quote unquote trans healthcare or whatever, you know. So
there's some good comments.
You know, okay, sorry, this is like what I was just saying. Like I'm like, you know, staring off into the distance as the comments are coming in, because I'm just trying to like formulate my own thoughts on it. But yeah, so I'm gonna jot down some notes, but like how are they different? Like I want to articulate like in what ways are abortion and trans medicine different. But yeah, I'm gonna look at the comments in 1 second. You have one?
Multiple. So Nana said,
let's scroll up. Yeah.
She says, being unhappy with your appearance isn't a medical condition. It doesn't require any treatment, unlike pregnancy and abortion.
Okay, good. Not a medical condition.
And then next, Agony's Embrace. Getting breast implants is not the same as deciding another being will not use your body for its survival.
Okay. So we're framing the trans thing as like a cosmetic.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes. I'm like literally taking notes because yeah, this is something that I've had. You know, it's like, again, it's a topic I'm interested in, but like I have this sort of amorphous ideas about it, but I haven't really like, you know.
I can just read comments and you don't have to necessarily highlight them while you take notes. So yeah, Irradiated Woman says, I have things to say. Risk versus benefit should be central in all healthcare decisions, especially with kids. Trans medicine, extremely risky to say the least. Pregnancy, extremely risky.
Yeah, that's fair. And like, right, you know, well, we talk about too, like with trans being like the permanently altering the body, right? But like also pregnancy permanently alters your body too. So
and your life. Yeah. Hannah, one is life-saving and enhancing women's autonomy in the world. The other is harmful and superficial.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and actually it's from an independent standpoint too. Like the trans thing makes you more dependent on like the medical system.
Yes.
Indefinitely. As does pregnancy. So yeah, pregnancy and birth are so risky and traumatic for children and teen girls. And then yet some people would say that an abortion is traumatic. So it's like, well, yeah, but pregnancy is going to be way more traumatic.
Existential Gamers comment, doing nothing when a girl is pregnant equals life forever changed. Doing nothing with trans kids equals life unchanged, body intact.
Agreed. And this is definitely something that when I did start to write a little bit about this, it's the hijacking of a movement, the same way they've hijacked women's rights are human rights. Now that's become trans rights are human rights. Black Lives Matter became Trans Lives Matter. Gay pride became trans pride.
Oh, there is such a
so they're very good at that, you know. Yeah.
I have to do some Googling for
Let's
a thing.
see. Foof says an abortion is very safe and not permanent in the sense that you could get pregnant again. It can also be a medical necessity. Transition can be unsafe and is always unnecessary intervention. Yeah, what do you all think about like parents like having the final say over whether a girl should be allowed to have an abortion? Like say like a 14, 15-year-old girl or something, which is kind of the age range that we talk about a lot with the trans stuff, especially the surgeries and stuff like that. Because ultimately if you say like that the parents should be involved or they should be the ultimate decision makers, like really what you're saying that is if the parent so chooses, then that child could be forced to have a child against her will, right? Because if it's a matter of parental consent or whatever, you know. So and then Ice Guys, this is a good point. No one thinks about the child being born, no one cares. There's being born is non-consensual. Right? I didn't ask to be born, Mom. Let's see. I'm got to go back here a little bit.
The Wicked V. Oh, okay.
No, sorry. Pediatric medicine needs to be the most risk-averse, no experimental or poorly studied stuff. Only evidence-based outside of exceptional circumstances like cancer with no other option. That's an interesting thing too, because that's what we often hear is like, oh, they're experimenting on kids, but they're not even doing that. Like, it's really interesting, like, because obviously if medicine needs to be given to kids for something legitimate, they have to study it. I mean, they studied like the COVID vaccines on kids and stuff, but that's actually studying it. And what they're doing with the trans stuff is not, it can't even be called experimental. Like the idea of, oh, we're experimenting on kids, that's so horrific to everyone, but they're not even doing that. They're like, they're just willy-nilly. They're not tracking longitudinally like what's happening to these kids. They're not looking at outcomes or anything like that. They're just giving them the medicine. It's not even experimental, Sorry, I'm just like rambling on.
No, please do. This is the place
for it. Right. I just wanted to kind of like brainstorm that a little bit because it's something I want to write about soon, but everybody seems to be kind of on the same page. Abortions can be crucial to a woman's survival. Trans procedures are not, even though they say they are. Objectively, they're not. That's a good point. Like the argument they make on behalf of this stuff is that it's life-saving the way that an abortion can be life-saving, even on an emotional level. Like,
Of course, it's necessary for so many reasons, not just physical or bodily.
Exactly.
For emotional and mental health reasons, for life reasons.
Yep. Like this is exactly what I was saying. Existential says true experiments would track data even if it's not favorable to your ideology. They don't do that though. They're not tracking any kind of like data in this stuff. So yeah, this is and I think it's really important to talk about on our side because I know that when Kelly J made those comments about that, there was like quite a big uproar because that's really pretty like anti-feminist to say that a parent should have the ultimate decision whether a child is allowed to have an abortion or not. And
or birth
control. That kind of right, or birth control, right? Like and she was saying we need to be involved in our children's lives and and you could be generous and like read her comments as that like oh well, parents should know what their kids are up to, but like oftentimes when a girl needs an abortion, it's because someone in her family got her pregnant or something like that. You know what I mean? It's not like So, and then if she happens to come from, say, like an evangelical family or something, who would never allow an abortion, then she can be forced into that against her
Mm,
will. And that's so, I really think why I think it's important. And that was kind of, there was like a whole uproar about that. And then, she got attacked, which was horrible. And that's sort of like, okay, well, we need to cool like critiquing her for a while or something or whatever because of
hmm.
that. And that's, I like kind of get that, I guess.
Yeah.
Just optically, or whatever, show of solidarity and stuff. And that's important too. But like,
Yeah.
I just think it's really important to clarify on the sort of gender critical side that these are like two very, very, very separate issues, and we have to avoid linking them at all. And it may be because she's
Yeah, I
worked with
agree.
conservative people that's sort of like, you know, became a talking point for her or something, and that would also be a
Ugh.
point of concern, I think. Um, but ultimately, at the end of the day, linking abortion and birth control and trans medicine, that's a TRA position, and we got to like leave that to them, and we can't be conflating those things, you know.
Correct.
So, anyways, yeah, I think yeah, I'm just popping through the chat now. Looks like you guys have, I'm gonna go back and read it later, but
Hmm. Lots of good
yeah,
comments.
we're already over 2 hours, so yeah. Um yeah. Um
Yeah.
yes, and this is the point, right? So even if it comes from a place of good intentions, it's like the outcome, if you ultimately make, in law, if you make those decisions, the parents, you're
Yeah.
gonna get girls suffering big time. And
Big
that's why it's
time.
not a feminist stance, is because the feminist stance has to be always that they can
In
have
favor of
access
girls and women.
to, yeah. And I get people saying, oh, well, why should a 14-year-old have access to birth control without her parents knowing? But then what's the alternative, right? Like, she may
Of
not be telling
course.
her parents she's having sex. So
Right.
if she, yeah, in an optimal world, 14-year-olds don't have sex. Well, obviously,
Hmm.
14-year-olds don't have sex anyways, that they are statutorily raped. But, you know,
Mm.
I don't know. Like, in a sense, I get where she's coming from, but then seeing that it's also like this ultra conservative talking point is obviously going to make any feminist nervous, at least, right?
Yeah. Well, like Blorbo said here, access to abortion and
Yeah,
contraceptives is such a basic feminist praxis. It's ridiculous that this is even an argument.
right. Right, and also there's like a whole slippery slope. It's like you limit access to 15-year-olds, then you're gonna limit access to 16-year-olds or 17, whatever.
16,
You know what I mean?
17.
Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, she may be being abused by family and doesn't want to get pregnant. So
Horrible.
yeah, and yet, a 14-year-old can decide, hey, I don't want to get pregnant, but then we're making the argument, well, we allow them that level of bodily autonomy, but but then the trans side would say, well, why not also allow them to
To
make decisions
cut her
about,
breasts off.
exactly. But I think people have made some good arguments about
Hmm.
that. It's, what abortion also is not experimental. We know it's
No.
safe. We know we have mountains of data and history of doing those procedures.
Yeah.
So, and mostly they're medicinal now, anyways.
Yep.
So
Very
that to
safe.
me is the big one, is like there's so many unknowns with the trans medicine that allowing someone, it's like, but at the same time, we don't allow 14-year-olds to get tattoos, you know?
Well, if you have parental consent, sometimes you can do it.
Right. Well, I'm not saying that we should. I think you know, obviously the trans thing is much more extreme than a tattoo, but like that in this sense, that's the point, right? Like we don't allow
Yeah.
them to get tattoos, which is this relatively minor thing to getting like
Yeah.
surgery to your genitals or whatever.
Oh,
Why don't we allow
it's
them to
so
get
effed up.
tattoos? Because they're gonna make
Yeah.
dumb mass decisions about the tattoo and ruin, you know,
You're permanently altering
and
your
regret it.
body. What about surgery?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, oh, 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 this is creepy. Um,
Yeah.
Trans medicine inherently takes away function, potential for breastfeeding, so antithetical to our medical model.
Yeah.
Right.
Sexuality is removed when you have trans surgeries.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I know can you stick around for like 5 more minutes? I'm not
Yes.
trying to be like, yeah, I know. Okay, let's see. Hold on. I just want to look this up real quick.
Agony's Embrace said the trans side is just seeking cosmetic surgery and claiming it's healthcare. You wouldn't give an anorexic liposuction. You treat the illness, not the
Right.
symptom. I have said that
Right.
before many times.
Exactly.
Irina asked, what do we think about Sheila Jeffrey's writings about tattoos? I would have to refamiliarize
Oh,
myself with her chapter in Beauty and Misogyny. I have read it, and I know she's not in favor, and she thinks like it's very misogynistic for women to get tattoos because they're being cut up and marked.
interesting.
I yeah, and I would have to refamiliarize myself with the passage though that she wrote. Um, I I have a lot of tattoos. If I had the money, I would
Yeah.
like to have more tattoos. So it's something to think about, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Yeah.
But I should reread that chapter.
Yeah. Um, turfs.
Turfs.
Over the last decade, a fringe movement of feminists has grown in Britain and the United States, resisting the call for trans rights, claiming that only cisgender women are women. You can call them gender
Correct.
critical feminists. Some go further and call them turfs, or simply people whose hearts, like the Grinch's, are 2 sizes too small. Oh my god, it's literally the opposite, you scum. I hate this guy. This guy went to my school. Oh my god, he's such a
Oh, wow.
freaking weirdo. Oh my god. Um,
Turfs.
Regardless, the current moment demands that trans women take their rightful place in American feminism. Wow, oh my god, we talked about clocking men in their writing. Their rightful place. Trans women
That's such
taking
a
their
male
rightful
phrase.
place in American feminism.
Lisa.
Like, what? They're men. They're like factually male.
Could you zoom in
Grr.
this a little bit?
Oh yeah, sure. I always like forget how to do that because I'm
Control
an
plus.
old person. I literally go to the menu.
Oh, okay. That
Okay.
works too.
Is that good?
That's good, yeah.
One more.
Okay, yeah.
In this fight, everyone believing in the right of all people to control their own bodies ought to be on the same side. Is it so impossible to suggest that we all might look out for one another?
The thing is about this quote here is like, so you and I both, I think, are on the same page that we really don't think people should be transitioning their bodies in this way. But
Oh,
I
at
guess
any age.
ultimately, yeah, I don't think they
No,
should. But ultimately,
no, I don't.
I do
I
think.
disagree. No.
I know.
Okay, you can. I mean, we're free to disagree on this.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm like very,
I
I'm
think
very
it's a bad
hardline that.
idea.
Yeah, the right. Well, I don't know. Like, it's like plastic surgery, right? Like, should a woman have the right to like get like triple H breasts or whatever implants? You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna I don't know, right? Like that's the thing that's like you can actually probably outlaw that in law. I don't think that there's nothing in the Constitution in the US to say that you have, the right to bodily autonomy in that way. Or you can just make it like, it's not medically necessary to get like Triple H breast implants. In fact, it's
Sure,
probably
but
quite bad for you.
I can see it being argued that the Constitution does indeed say that because every human being has the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So I feel like somebody
Mm,
definitely could argue that it is absolutely in the Constitution.
liberty.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Nanas? This is I don't believe doctors have the right to do that to people.
To no
That's,
harm.
we don't just let business is regulated. You know what I mean? Medicine is a
Mm-hmm.
business. So, Blorbo says I'm a little more like if an adult wants to medically transition, it's not a good idea medically, but it's their prerogative. And again, I just disagree. I really see it like you mentioned the anorexic thing.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's how I see it. It's like if, well, anorexics do kill themselves by starving
20% of
themselves,
them do. It's the most deadly mental
Yeah.
illness. 20% of people with anorexia die. 1 out of
How
5.
about like medically assisted suicide
It's legal in this
of like
country.
terminally ill people? Yeah, it's like not very legal here.
Um, I am for it. Not across the
Yeah,
board, obviously. Not just like, hey, I want to kill myself.
sure.
No. But there is a rigorous process to be approved for it. I
Uh,
think a person in
yeah.
extreme medical suffering should have the right to end their life if they want to.
Yeah, I
And when
agree.
there's like truly no hope, which is what the cases are.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And it's like examined on a case by case basis and whatever.
Of
Sure. Like
course. And
someone who's
there's,
gonna like die in 3 weeks anyways, and they want to give them a
mhm,
lethal dose of morphine or something, like
yeah.
go for
I know
it.
here in Alberta, um, 2 doctors do have to both sign off and agree that it's appropriate. And they have to be doctors who are not involved in your treatment whatsoever. They just have to review the case. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nana says that's why doctors can't just lop people's limbs off if mentally ill
Yeah.
people want that. There has to be ethics in medicine applies to all cosmetic stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
agree with
amazing when
Nana
you see
there.
those that guy who's like the human Ken doll or whatever,
I
I know you know about
know.
stuff like that.
He's
Like,
now trans,
um,
though. He's now a woman.
like, how did, who are these doctors? Like that's just what's like so, how do they maintain their license? Like maybe we need to go to the ethics boards or whatever and that kind of stuff. Um, a radiated woman says tricky with adult cosmetic stuff, but they're objectively bad medical choices one can make with one's body. You can't go get whatever surgery you want. Yeah, like if I wanted to go get like my liver removed or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Um
Yeah,
anyways,
I
okay.
think
Well, we've been going, yeah. Say what you gotta say.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say I don't really know. I think I was gonna say it's something I have to think about more because I want to say that I don't know. I think people should have the right to do what they want, but also, again, there's so many reasons that it's all bad ideas. Um,
But
hmm.
even like isn't like suicide like technically illegal and stuff? Like,
Yeah,
it's we don't let people make their own choices we have a lot of safeguards in place to make sure
Yeah,
people don't
yeah,
harm themselves. It's
yeah.
just,
I
yeah.
I think ultimately, yeah, people should not be doing this to themselves. Um, there's no reason for doing it. No good reason.
No, I don't think so. Even an adult, that's what I say.
Yeah.
I mean, but come on, at the very least, kids.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Because adults, okay, fine. You do something dumb, you live with the consequences. You dive headfirst into a swimming pool, you live with the consequences. You know,
Uh,
I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, children at the very least, absolutely not ever for any reason, under any circumstance.
yeah, because now they're going to have to live with the consequence of some adult making a dumbass decision for them. Because ultimately, like, you know, that's really where the abortion thing is the opposite, because you don't have to live with the consequences of an abortion though, in the same
Right.
way you have to live the consequences of a pregnancy,
Right.
you know?
Or transitional surgeries.
Right. Um goddamn minutes. They really do co-opt this look at, okay, when conservatives talk about defunding Planned Parenthood ostensibly because of the abortion services it offers, they're also talking about denying a major resources for the well-being of trans people. Is anti-trans sentiment really driven by an understanding of the complex science behind gender variance? I hate these people so much. I hate this so much. Goodbye.
It's
Goodbye.
awful.
Oh my God. That's so annoying. Okay. Um, wouldn't we be horrified if people were volunteering to be lobotomized? Why isn't sexual lobotomy equally horrifying? I agree. I've talked about that a lot. Okay. Well,
Yes,
I'm not
okay, I
going to keep you
agree.
anymore. This is like a very long, we've already got, like 2 hours is just like such a nice clean time. Whatever. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Yes, good night. Thank
Thank
you.
you for joining us. Do you want to talk
Mhm.
about what you have coming up?
Nothing.
Do we have anything coming up? Okay. Okay, cool. Well,
We
I will
will
be
be
on your
back
channel
next
next
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yep. We'll
You're
see
getting
what we
close
talk
to
about.
3,000 subscribers. So if anyone here is not subscribed to Radical Ramblings, please go subscribe to her channel. I'm
Oh,
sure
thank
you
you.
probably all are. Best radical feminist channel on YouTube, hands
No, that's you.
down. My inspiration, and you're the reason I do what I do. And
Likewise.
as far as what I have coming up, I'm going to be on Radical Ramblings channel next Tuesday. I am also working on an essay about Paris Paloma's song. So, yeah, if you have any thoughts on that, leave me a comment about that. And yeah, thank you all. Hope
Thank
you learned
you.
something. Thank you for the nice chat. And we'll see y'all
Mhm.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.